Hi, it's Michelle. I am going to talk to you today about walking feet, not the feet on the bottom of your legs, however, sewing machine feet, and this one in particular. I know a lot of people have got problems putting these on machines, including me, and I have spent quite a bit of time today trying to figure out the easiest way to do this, and it's easy once you know how. And there's a few steps that would be good for you to follow and see if it works for you. Now, I'm not sure if all machines are the same. I'm using this Bernina, let me turn this way rather, this Bernina Virtuosa 160, and it's walking foot. In a box specifically says for Activa or Virtuosa. I have both these machines. I haven't tried it on the Activa yet, but I'm using it on this Virtuosa. Anyway, it has a seam guide in it as well, which I don't use because the quilting I'm doing doesn't require it. Let's start. Give me a second. Let me see if I plug her in and the light goes on. Is it any better? Maybe a little. So we'll leave her switched on then. First things first, get rid of the existing presser foot. Right. Lift up that little lever. That's how all Bernina feet work, which is wonderful. Then pull it down. They can get quite jammed on there if they've been on your machine for a long time. So it might take a little bit of wiggling and then it'll drop off. So remove that first of all. Needle. Some people have spoken about dropping your feed dogs. Well, it doesn't make any difference whether you drop your feed dogs or not, because you can simply turn your hand wheel towards you and the feed dogs will lower. However, you need this bar and the needle clamp over here, which is the screw, to be at the highest position possible in order to get this here foot on. The problem with that is that as soon as this is in the highest position, the needle is in the highest position, so are your feed dogs. That's where the problem comes in. This is why, don't hassle, just take the needle out. For the couple of seconds it's going to take you, turn your needle down a bit so you've got a bit more space in here for your thumb, and just thumb screw that needle, screw out, that clamp out, take your needle out and set it one side. Now, while you're here, you're going to unscrew this little screw a few turns. I do it about 6 turns, 5 turns, or thereabouts. In other words, it's out further than it would ever normally be. You don't normally need to take that screw off. And I don't take it off completely to put this foot on as well. But just because I worry I lose it, it drops somewhere, the cat grabs it, the child grabs it. I don't know. Just leave it in there because it's not necessary. So we've lowered our feed dogs anyway because we lowered our needle to take the needle out. And that's only because your thumb gets stuck at the top here and you need a little bit more space to unscrew this. That's the only reason we've lowered it originally. So now we've got that a little bit lower anyway. I'm going to show you. You take this. Now, this bar on this feed dog here, this walking foot bar has to go over this needle clamp here. So if I put it in the way it's going to go, that has to slide over the needle clamp. All right, so there it is. You can see the bite in that goes over this pin where the screw is. You've now got it in a position where it'll actually go underneath your foot spur here, this little pin here. So I'm going to take that out of the way again. This pin here is where your presser foot always attaches to, and that's no different on this walking foot, right? So the aim is to get it into this hole here, but also get it onto the bar over this, and that's where the challenge comes in. So what I've done is lowered it slightly, put my bar so that that's over there. There's now place for you to wiggle, and I'm going to show you something. I'm going to take it off again. If everything is in the lowest position, that is your problem, is the bottom of this post. Now, my machine, if I press the presser foot lever up, doesn't go up any further. That's the maximum height on this machine. So what I want to see is, does that pin there slide towards the hole in the center of this? And it does. If it doesn't, you have got a little cutout just here on this, and that's where it can go in. But when your feed dogs are at their lowest, they should be fine. Okay, you should be able to feed this in any direction like this. Right, so first things, put this U-shaped thing over your needle, and you can tighten it slightly at this point. You don't want to tighten it completely because you still have to put your needle back in. Now is when you get the back part of this post to go into the hole. Okay, so however you do that, just wriggle it around and get it into the hole. Make sure the foot is 90 degrees to the bed, otherwise it won't engage at the top here. There's a tab. All Berninas of different ages have different shaped tabs. On this one, it's got two thin posts, and it's got two little grooves up here that they slide into. Once they're in there, you will be able to lower the clamp that holds the walking foot in place. That's this little bar here. So I'm going to show you again. You push that down. Now mine sometimes, if it's not perfectly aligned yet, will get a bit stuck up here. So just wiggle it until it goes all the way down. And make sure you push it so that it is completely fastened in place. So now your foot is actually on, your walking foot is attached correctly. I lower my walking foot, I reinsert my needle, and I do that by putting it into the hole, getting it up into the hole, back of the needle towards the back of the machine, obviously. If you've over tightened it earlier, just loosen this needle clamp a little bit, push it up as far as the needle will go. It must stop for it to sew properly, and tighten by hand, finger tight only. If you've got a screw on there, don't be tempted to use a screwdriver because it doesn't need to be that tight. You're now ready to thread your needle. So what I do is turn it to the highest position, cut your thread off at 45 degrees, and simply thread your needle. And now your threads can go to the back because there is a groove in this foot, and voila, you're ready to sew. For my quilting, I adjust, and it's straight quilting, so what I'm going to do is adjust the stitch length to 4, and it's on a normal straight stitch. You can use whatever stitch you prefer, length, etc. So that's how to put it on. To get it off may be a little bit easier, but I wouldn't guarantee it. So what I do is I don't try, turn the needle down a bit, give myself a bit of thumb space here, unscrew the needle, pull the needle out, unclip the presser foot the way you normally do, lift it up, and then you can now pull it out. Through that groove there's, I find the easiest, the one on the front left facing you. On the left hand side, just there's a little cutout, and it'll slide off. You can now reinstall your normal foot, whichever one you want to be using. Make sure it's nice and well clamped in place. I always return my presser foot down when I insert my needle, insert the needle, push it up as high as it'll go, and thumb tighten. Bring your needle up a bit. Remember, always turn your hand wheel towards you. And the highest position is the easiest for you to thread your machine. Pull your thread through and drag it to the back left, and you're ready to go. There you go, folks. That's how I install the walking foot on this Bernina Virtuosa. I hope that's been helpful for some of you who are struggling. Have a wonderful day. Bye.